They're red flagging this one now. I presume due to the McAdoo crash, we are going to be looking at a staggered restart late in the game. And could that mean the end, or was it close enough to the end where they might call it?
All the bikes out there look the same. Customize your bike, make it look like this. Only at quickmoto.com. You guys need 20% off graphics? Only at
What up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and thank you all for tuning in. It's Matty B, and today I just wanted to get a little bit into the incident that happened over the weekend at Detroit Supercross with the red flag when the race was almost over, totally robbing Max Anstey of the win and giving it to Levi Kitchen. I've been going through my comments on YouTube like I always do, just tons of confusion. Nobody really knows why they did what they did. Everybody thinks the rules change from week to week, so I just wanted to try to do this to clear some things up for you guys, so I did a little bit of recon and got some info. And for those of y'all that don't know, I do have family members that work for the AMA, my dad and my sister, so I'm going to withhold my judgment. I'm not here to tell you guys some super biased opinion, because obviously I have bias, I have family members there, so I'm not going to bother you guys with my opinion, but what I will say is even the people in the media who have always given the AMA a hard time throughout the years, even they are saying that Mike Pelletier and the guys nowadays are doing a better job than they ever have. So I think things are definitely trending in the right direction. But even though I have family members in the AMA and that I have that bias, the bias I don't have is I'm still going to tell you guys things I do and don't disagree with. This isn't just going to be some schmooze fest fluff piece. I'm never going to do that to you guys. And I definitely don't think they're perfect. I mean, nobody is, but I do think they're a whole lot better than the FIM used to be back when John Gallagher was throwing black flags like they were out of style, or getting banned for 6 or 9 years because he sat next to somebody on an airplane that did coke like 3 weeks ago. But I do know a lot of you guys are confused, so I'm just trying to bring you guys some facts, and hopefully this will clarify all the questions a lot of you are having. So let's go ahead and get into it. First off, one of the biggest things I've seen in my comments and all on social is that everybody thinks the rule changed from week to week, because last week they showed a different graphic on the TV, and rightfully so that you guys are confused and you think that because, you know, it was on TV, but it was just the TV people that got it wrong. Apparently they showed the wrong graphic. I guess somebody from the AMA saw it during the week and had them correct it before this past weekend. And one more quick common misconception I'm seeing is a lot of you are screenshotting the Google AI answer to the question about what to do during a restart. And Google AI isn't always right, guys. Like, I don't know exactly how it works, but I feel like it might be pulling an answer from a couple of years ago, something like that. And speaking of what they showed last week, what even did happen to the 90% rule? Like, why would they get rid of it? It seems like it was perfect. Well, they actually got rid of it starting at the beginning of the 2024 season. They got rid of it because of discrepancies of exactly how much 90% of the race would be from week to week. You know, every track's different, every lap time's different, and the races are 15 minutes plus a lap. So the races are never going to be exactly the same length, so 90% will be a little bit different week to week on each track. And so their reasoning behind that is, you know, if you got the red flag around the 90% mark, riders would more than likely not even know whether they were going to finish or not. There would just be a lot of confusion. And with this rule, it's set in stone. No matter what, you're going to at least do green, white checkers and finish the race. So I think they just wanted guys to know what they were getting into before they got into that situation, just to try to keep away from any confusion, make things easier. And I got to be honest with you guys, this is the part I don't really agree with. I really don't think it would take but a minute or two to do some math at the beginning of the night. Like, all right, we got this lap time, so 90% would be X amount of time. So I don't necessarily agree with that part of the rule, but the rules are the rules.
And one more thing that I forgot to mention, but I want to throw in here, is people are saying, why couldn't you just give them gaps in the single file restart, like give Anstey a 7-second lead back? Imagine how much of a cluster that would be, man. There would be people lapped and other riders taking off with the leaders. The track's not big enough for all that, so it just wouldn't quite work.
Now, here's another thing I've seen. Why was it not green, white checkers as advertised? According to the rule book, the restart has to be a minimum of 3 laps. According to the rule book, the restart has to be a minimum of 3 laps, and if you paid attention to where they started in relation to the finish line, it was only a half a lap that first lap, so minimum of 3 laps means obviously that's the least it can be, so it couldn't be just 3 laps because it was only half a lap to the finish line, so they had to do 3.5. That's why they didn't get the green flag the first time. And really, if you think about that rule, even if your starting place is 99% of a full lap, you're still going to end up not getting the green flag on that first lap because it's not a full lap. So I feel like at minimum, no matter what, you're going to be doing 4 laps on that restart. Some of you are probably wondering why they even threw the red flag at all, because, you know, it wasn't exactly a life or death situation. Obviously, Cameron was laid out, but it seemed like he woke up pretty quick. Safety is obviously paramount, but the race was almost over. In that situation, maybe they could have waited a few minutes, but the thing is, they were at the end of the whoop section, and apparently apparently the medics almost got hit a few times from people getting loose as a goose in the whoops. So the medics are actually the ones who called in the red flag. And the thing about that is when the medics call for it, they're going to get it because they're out there attending to down riders, and the medics and the down rider are all at risk. So if they're in a situation that's too sketchy, they'll say, F it, get us out of here, get these guys off the track and let us do our jobs. And I feel like it makes total sense why they would do that. I mean, imagine if a guy gets sketchy in the whoops and cleans out a medic, and then you guys know how it is nowadays, land at the free, home of the lawsuit, lawyers getting involved in everything. So that wouldn't be good for anybody. So I totally understand that. One thing I will say, I do think we need some reform on what to do when somebody's injured in the whoops, because the whoops are the sketchiest part of the track. I mean, people are getting swapped left and right, getting kicked, bucked like a bull with its balls racked in duct tape. Everything you can think of, it's happening in those whoops. So I feel like that's the most unsafe place to be laid out or have medics out there or anything. So I feel like at the very least, maybe they could do double caution flags on both sides of the whoops and make them roll through, or maybe even at the most, you're allowed to double through. I feel like that might be a little bit gray to police, but I just feel like they have to do something because that's so sketchy to be skimming through some broken down whoops with bodies and medics right around you. Just yeah, not good for everybody. So I think something needs to be done. I don't have all the answers, but I just think it's something to think about. And there's even this example from Joey Savacci at Anaheim 2 2016. I literally just remembered this off the top of my head.
Watch on the right side of your screen. Okay, so Noren's already down. Oh, Savacci just makes a mistake on his own? Yep, sure did.
So sketchy. Freddie Noren's down at the end, and Joey gets a little sideways in the whoops and almost clocks him, ends up going down big. And imagine if that was a guy that was hurt and there's a bunch of medics crowded around him. You know, that would have been a very bad situation. And my final point I want to make is regarding whether anything will actually be done or not to keep this from happening again. And I think back to Budds Creek 2022 when Hayden Deegan was checked out 18 minutes into the moto and Hardy Munoz laid himself out. They had a red flag and they did a full re-rack, which sucked. I don't think anybody liked that procedure, but it was in the rule book. So the rules are the rules. They had to follow them. And immediately they revisited it. They realized that's not good. We need to fix this. And the very next weekend at Ironman, they were already trying a new procedure in qualifying practice for what they would do if there was a red flag restart at that point in the moto. And I know this because I was a part of it. They were letting us off one by one. I didn't even know what was going on at the time, but they were already testing new procedures. So got to take your hat off to that. So with that being said, if they were that quick to reevaluate and change, you know, Supercross and Motocross, they are supposedly working together now. So maybe this will be the shot in the arm they need to go back and revisit this rule, but maybe not. I don't know. It definitely made it exciting. I just hate it for Anstie. You know how hard he worked to open that gap up for the whole moto and then had it taken away. But Kitchen saw an opportunity. He took advantage of it, and unfortunately Max didn't quite cut the mustard whenever that green flag flew again, and yeah, that's how the cookie crumbled. So yeah, that's all I got for today. Maybe you guys can put your pitchforks down. The rules might not always be perfect, but I'll be damned if they're not following them, so they're doing their best. It's easy to hate on governing bodies. That's kind of just what people do, so I don't expect it to end anytime soon, but I just wanted to at least tell you guys the facts and then let you guys make your own judgments. So I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, if you agree, disagree, what you like, what you don't like. Gonna keep doing my best to bring you guys some Supercross content from the comfort of the house. I'm unfortunately still not allowed to cover the races. Tried to get a media credential for Daytona and did not get approved, so bummer, but absolutely nothing I can do about it. So gonna keep bringing you guys what I can from where I can. Thank you all. We're out.